All right, we're back. It is time for 10 minutes of Giro. Dan Dowling is here.
How are
We're
you?
talking stages 6, 7, and 8. We had a breakaway, a time trial, and an uphill finish. Dan, what was your favorite stage of those three?
Um, I definitely like the gravel. I like the gravel stage because gravel's it's very hot right now. It's all the rage, and they did really represent the spirit of gravel appropriately. I mean, I did see Tadej Pogacar was smoking a blunt at one point.
He was? Wow, I missed that part.
Totally, it's just kind of gravel's a little bit more laid back, man. You just
Yeah, you're a gravel guy. You like the gravel riding. So do you think there's a
I don't
place?
like the riding. I like the
Oh,
drugs. I just like
you
the
don't
recreational
you
drug
don't
use
like the riding.
associated with it. Yeah, it's just
See,
an excuse to
no one else has
drink
a
and
YouTube
do
show about
drugs and
riding and doesn't actually like the riding.
no, I it's no, yeah, no, I it's true. I am a bit of a gravel guy myself. So yeah, I liked seeing that. I wish it was I actually thought it was really interesting. I was like it would be nice to actually see more of that because honestly it's most gravel is a lot closer to road than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of old school stage racing, right? If you go back far
Hmm.
enough, it was all on gravel roads, and I think it would open up us the competition to some people with maybe some different skill sets. So I actually would like to see more of it incorporated
Okay,
into
so you
the
feel
race.
there is a place for gravel in the road racing scene.
Yeah, I'd like to see him
Yeah.
beef it up, and maybe like it would be cool to see an all gravel stage one day or something like that, or majority
Yeah.
gravel
Oh,
stage.
I never even thought of that possibility. That would be
Yeah.
something. It
Mhm.
does throw an added detail in the race because then we start talking about just dust in general, just the dust from cars, the dust from the bikes itself. Because, I mean, we saw it with the breakaway, had like probably the clearest shot at the
Mhm.
gravel road, and then when the main group came by, like there was dust from the all the cars in front. If you're middle to back of that main group, I don't know how you see 10, 15 feet in front of you. So we get to talk about fine dust in the air
That's
as
true.
well,
That
which
is
is
a
cool.
problem, but at the same point, at the same time, with that dust, when you're smoking your spliff, and
Mm-hmm.
Tade's parents didn't, like he fooled his parents entirely. They didn't know he would either. It was like, oh, I'm just riding my bike, guys, and he was like,
You see
"You're
Tade as
fine."
a like a happy stoner type of guy, just riding
Yes,
his bike around
yeah,
Italy, having a good time.
yeah. Unfortunately, my favorite happy stoner of the race is not, or the peloton is not there, which is Sepp Kuss, aka Sepp Kush.
Mm.
But hopefully, he'll bring some of that to Spain or something this
Wow,
year.
you have the inside track on these riders who are 420 friendly. I didn't know this about you, Dan.
Well, I've done extensive research. Sepkus is from Colorado and once posted a picture of himself at In and Out, and I don't think I need to say any more. Okay, that's case closed as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, wow. In and out, Colorado equals stoner. You know what?
Yeah,
I don't think there's anybody who can rebut that, actually.
I mean, pretty. Those are both. Yeah. So,
Hmm.
what was your favorite of the last three years?
Oddly, oddly, the TT stage I think was my favorite. It was the most telling. It was a big win for Tade. I think it was a big loss for not only Geraint Thomas, but I think it was a big loss for Tech in the Ineos world because they probably were the most tech heavy in that TT with massive chain rings. They ran an integrated rear hub that was, I think it's called a power shift hub. So you had gears in the rear hub
Oh, that
as well.
internal. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because I think Ghana did a single ring up front. And if you saw the video, like lots of riders were in their small ring and a climbing gear. So like you needed gearing in
Hmm.
there and then helmet talk. We got to have helmet talk, which is in
Oh,
any
there.
TT, it's almost become part of the conversation. It's like now we have to talk about
Mhm.
helmets. So
Yeah.
I oddly liked the TT the most. It was the most telling. And I have a detail I want to get into when we get into the stage about the TT. I think you might find fun. So it's weird that none of us picked the actual uphill stage as our favorite stage over the last 3 days.
I mean, it wasn't the. I mean, first of all, I really only watched kind of the final, probably 45 minutes of it or so,
Mm-hmm.
with the idea being because I went on a ride today and I was like, okay, I'll watch some of this. And if it looks like there was a bunch going on earlier that I missed, I was going to go back and catch up.
Hmm.
But it looked like a pretty. I mean, but you correct me if I missed. I don't know. It unfolded as expected.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I
other than
watched.
that, Tade just seemed a little conservative, if anything.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we have conservative Tade all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't like to try to destroy everyone from 40K out and put 15 minutes into everybody. Like you probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the last 10K twice, and I kept asking myself or looking, I was like, all right, what can I talk about here? And it was really hard to find anything because it was like the most traditional uphill finish I think we've seen. A large group is going
Yeah.
into the last 5K. Micah
Mhm.
is riding the front. Ineos is not touching the front.
Right.
Besides that Bora guy attack and the Bahrain guy attack, which didn't really go anywhere, it
Yeah, I
was a
mean they
drag
tried, but
race to the top of the hill, and then Tade
exactly.
outsprinted everybody, but not by much. Like the Bora guy came in right behind him, so it was conservative is an interesting word to describe it. I think you're right.
What's always telling that for me though is when you look at like that final pounce by Tade and his sort of sprint, he looks so much more supple and fresh than everyone else.
Hmm.
Everyone else looks like they're at the limit, lungs are exploding, and maybe Tade feels like that too and just doesn't show it as much.
Hmm.
But it just looks a lot easier for him.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's part of
definitely
the
looked very
reason I
smooth.
thought like he was going maybe a little bit conservative today because he
Well,
didn't
let's.
seem so.
Yeah, he has ridden a little conservative in the sense like it's not the explosive. I got to win
Yeah, I'm just gonna
every
win
mountain.
half of the stages,
Tade.
not
Yeah.
every. Yeah.
Well, let's ask the question now: is the Giro over?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is. I mean, barring something really strange, which obviously can happen. Um, I think so. What was it last year's Giro that Remco got
Yeah, last year's Giro,
pulled
Remco
for
went,
sick?
got COVID,
Yeah,
and then quit the Giro in the jersey.
yeah. It's really only something like that. Although those COVID protocols don't seem. I don't know if they're just as strict as they were, and what the infection rates are like
Mm-hmm.
among that group at the moment. But yeah, other
Yeah.
than that,
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll sit on that topic for a second because now let's do 10 minutes of Giro,
right,
Dan. We're
10
talking
minutes.
stages 6, 7, and 8. So let's put 10 minutes on the clock and let's start it up. 10 minutes. Stage 6,
Mm-hmm.
the Alaphilippe breakaway, as I now
Ooh.
call it. Because not only was it an Alaphilippe breakaway, or not only is it a breakaway where Alaphilippe's in it, we get an Alaphilippe breakaway, which I have 3 details. Number 1, a lot of talking, a lot of head back and forth from Alaphilippe, a lot of going back to the car and having full-on discussions with your team director, and then lastly, messing up the finish and getting second place or worse is an Alaphilippe breakaway for me.
Right.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have a feeling we're not done with Alaphilippe breakaways this Giro.
For sure. I was really excited to see. And actually, this was a backup photo of the day. I'm going to pull this up because I want to show it to you quick.
Oh, bonus
Um,
photo from Dan.
because of, like, in terms of him fluffing the final. And people, some of the commentators were talking about this on
He
Saturday.
got in a fight with who was that rider? Sanchez a couple times too. They were arguing about God knows what.
Not Pelayo, the guy that won.
Oh,
That
who won the stage? That Alaphilippe stage? That
it
was
was
Sanchez. That was Pelayo Sanchez, right?
Pelayo. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking at
Yeah,
his
he got in an
Instagram.
argument with him like 30 Ks out about pulling. So you're in agreement that Alaphilippe blew his chances.
I mean, well, I think he didn't. I think he. I think Pelayo was such an unknown quantity for him,
Mm-hmm.
and either one, Pelayo really might be the kind of rider that even if he's gassed and can't pull, can still pull off a sprint because some people can do that. And then, or he was just really good at bluffing and he played Alaphilippe. But I do like to show here if I can find this. This will take a. Yeah, let me see if I can just hold this up to the camera. So
Okay,
here's
let's see
a
what you got.
here's Pelayo's Instagram.
Oh, what is that? Is that him as a kid?
Yeah, that's his photo. That's from 2015.
Oh my
He's like a
god,
little boy.
he's a child.
Yeah, with
They're riding.
braces. He
And is that
looks like he's
Alaphilippe on his wheel?
yeah, it's just but he looks like he's riding to church to be an altar boy, you know? And like I don't I would be if I should have put up like a side by side with Alaphilippe in 2015. Although Alaphilippe's not old, obviously.
Hmm.
He's not as young as Pelayo. So yeah, Pelayo
Hmm.
was definitely a little bit an unknown quantity and clearly had a kick there. So I thought that was interesting. And I will say to your point though of Alaphilippe's general sort of emotiveness and chattiness. He does seem to have really taken on the much needed role of the Thomas Vogler of the peloton. Which
Definitely. He is
we
Vogler
just need we need
2.0. Yeah.
tongue coming out a little bit more.
He is Gen Z Vogler.
Yeah, but just being pissed off, just I love it. Yeah, that
Just
was
so French, so dramatic.
yes, so dramatic, unbelievable. The
Yeah.
stupidity, oh yeah, the stupidity.
Right, right. He's like so much panache
Yes,
with the but it was weird how he like how Alaphilippe finds a way to mess these things up because number one, Luke Plapp is gifting the stage. He is leading out these two, and I wasn't sure if he was doing it because at some point Plapp was in virtual GC.
yeah,
So I was like, maybe that's what he's doing. Plapp gets dropped, comes back, goes to the front, and at one point it's Plapp, Sanchez, and Alaphilippe, and Sanchez just swings out of the line, and Alaphilippe goes, okay, thank you, and then Sanchez right back to third position, the perfect position.
yeah.
I didn't quite understand how Alaphilippe either took that bait so easily or Sanchez was just playing master head games, and it
Yeah,
worked out possibly because he won that sprint really cleanly
right.
in there.
Yeah,
That was interesting.
yeah. I don't know, and maybe or who knows? Maybe Alaphilippe thought he really had the goods,
Hmm.
so he was like, "Whatever, I'm," you
I
know.
think you're right. I think that's what it had to be. But we're not done with Alaphilippe. I am in
No,
no way thinking Alaphilippe is not going to get another 7 to 10 breakaways. He
no,
tried
for
today
sure.
again.
Yeah, no, and it's yeah, it's awesome. It
Right.
also that
Because,
both.
yeah, also because we're at the point in some of these stage races where we need secondary stories because the GC is going to be wrapped up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and that's what kind of bummed me out a little bit, even like with the gravel stage. Though again, it was a pretty minor gravel, like overall in terms of the gravel section. But it would have been nice to have a Wout Van Aert or a Tom Pidcock or somebody
Hmm.
who might have tried something a little bit more exceptional, I guess, on the gravel,
Yeah.
and lit that up a little bit. But we do have Alaphilippe obviously making things interesting on the rest of the stages, and it seems like he's getting. It almost seems like he's racing into form, so to speak. So I think maybe by
Yeah. It's going to be interesting what his tour plans are
yeah,
given this Giro result, whether he wins a stage or he just, like you're saying, is riding
right.
into form. All right, let's talk TT. Number one, do you watch TTs, Dan? If you see a time trial, are you waking up early or you're like, skip it? What's your
I tend
reactions?
I do I love yes and no. I won't typically watch the entire thing. I think watching the non GC, I could give a shit to riders, and then it's not me, it's them. They're just like, I have to do this TT. Not the most exciting thing to watch, right? Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, this guy came in 7 minutes behind, and is
Yeah,
this one?
you end up trying to do a lot of math when you're watching TTs.
Yeah, but there's nothing. I mean, TTs can make. I mean, when those, I tend to like third week TTs when there's something up for grabs for the GC wise. Those can be so great. But even this one, even though that wasn't really the case here, and I didn't think anyone was going to come close to Tade, aside from maybe Ghana.
Yeah. Did you
But
think he was going to beat Ghana though?
yeah, I did. I mean, just given the climbing nature of things and just how freaking good he is. Like
Yeah.
he's didn't. I mean, he beat what was it? The tour 2 or 3 years ago. He beat Tom Dumoulin. Like he was beating like he
Hmm.
when he just rolled up, and I think wasn't he just like on his road bike or something like that? Like I remember like
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm with you. He's so at some point we're like, oh, Ghana is the TT specialist, and we're like, he went early, and then we're doing the whole thing like he went early, conditions were better
yeah,
early, and then Pogachar kind of reminds us like, hey, don't forget, I'm good at this too.
yeah. And if there's a climb, he can make up so much time so quickly versus someone like Ghana. Not that Ghana's he can power up those things, but he's not going to quite match it. To your point on the tech, though, one thing I did notice on the very final coming into the finish line of the TT, there was like, some cobbles or something like that. Looked pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, Ghana was still on his aero bars and came up for a little bit though. But on the Ineos bike, they were bouncing around like they were on 19 millimeter tires or something like that.
Mm-hmm. The slow motion, really showed it. They all have skinny arms to start.
Yeah,
and you're right. Ghana was in the aero bars.
Right.
For that finish, and most everybody else did it on the side extensions for, I guess, just controlling.
Yeah, because there's a lot of turns there, and it was funny. He was in a half tuck and braking with the other hand at one point.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, I've never seen a rider put one arm in the aero bar and one arm on the brakes.
Yeah, but
that was
Tade on his bike looked a lot more. It looked like the bike was somehow a little bit more compliant. And I almost wonder if that's either a design choice by Colnago or maybe by Tade himself to be like, I don't want any of the weird, don't get too weird on my TT bike or what. But I mean, he looked like he was a lot more capable of dealing with adversity on a TT course on his bike versus someone like Ghana. And I think they're both equally, gifted bike handlers and all that stuff. So it really did seem like an equipment thing. Like at some point, does your one piece $3,000 carbon handlebar aero stem integrated into your fork or whatever do more harm than it does good because it's just too
good
stiff, point. And overbuilt,
good point. The handling at some point becomes a question. It was almost a downhill into the finish on the cobbles, really bouncy. Not to mention these guys are spent. It was a 40K time trial. Like this was not easy. And then we saw it. Garrett Thomas did not have it. He loses second in GC, goes down to third in this race. So that was a telling stage. And I just think Thomas, and also watching today, is in the mode where like, I'm just going to try and stay in the front group all tour long. If Tade cracks, he cracks.
Yeah.
I think that might be the strategy. So like talking today's stage, 152 kilometers, Cat 1 finish. And I just wrote down in my notes, fireworks, ? Because I don't know if that much happened today. And then it ended up like we thought. So, and then Thomas again, he said he felt better today. I don't think he looked great. Sheffield was in the group with him. Thomas seems to pedal 10 RPM slower than everybody else. So what do you think? I mean, are we going to say Thomas or Martinez is battling for second here? Is that really the race to watch?
I mean, I definitely think it's a race to watch, and I don't think I have I can't make a call on that. I don't know, but I think it's going to be. I think they're both very motivated to try to be runner up.
Yeah, and we're going to have to find this story second and third week because I don't think Pogačar can
what
be
was
stopped.
The last? What was the classic? The one day race that Tade recently won, and I think Bardet got second.
Strada? Are we the dirt road one?
Was it Strada Bianca? Or
Strada Bianca, where he took off at 80 Ks to go.
Well,
and I think Sepp Kuss chased him for about a minute and a half, and was like, "Let's chill out, everybody.
Let's smoke some weed, by
right? We need a blunt stop.
Yeah, seriously, it's gravel, bro.
It's gravel, bro. We're all hanging out.
I forget which race it was, but Bardet was pretty elated for his second place finish, and because he really did. He rode away from everyone else. He didn't match Tade at all, but he was the best of the rest. And Tade is a kind of rider where it's like, I think, especially for someone who's a little bit more later in their career too, like that's almost a win for them, Right.
And we were even seeing headlines to be like, hey, if you get second, that's a win to Pogačar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we hit our 10 minutes. We went over, of course, like we always do.
Oops.
But to wrap it up, like, how can Pogačar lose this Giro? So we got a crash. We got him just flat out cracking, which is not out of the question because he's done it at the Tour. We got COVID. We could go COVID. He could be out of the Tour. Can you think of any other way he can lose this Giro? Because just straight up trying to beat him is not going to happen. I'm going to go equipment failure, crash, broken bone is the only way he can lose this Giro.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to even think about it, but I think it would have to be something like what we saw on Tour of Basque Country, like a really catastrophic crash.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see I mean, maybe the cracking, again, I think that could be, again, weather contingent. But like we said, too.
Weather, good point. We could have weather that could mess us up.
Even if he's not doing great, is there anyone who's going to, unless he has a bunch of really bad days in a row, is there anyone who's going to be able to take minutes on him? I mean, it's like
right.
if Johan and was in the race with a really strong team and 100%, then but I mean, Geraint Thomas isn't going to come and take 5 minutes.
And UAE is looking stronger and stronger every day. Like Micah is riding tempo today, and nobody's attacking.
Right,
Micah is stringing out this group today. He looked really, really good today. He made a nice lead out for Tadej, and Tadej won. Very impressive from UAE. I don't think there's anything as a team they can't handle either.
Right. Honestly, one of the more interesting things for me to watch is I know that Tadej very much likes the team component of cycling, is whether or not he starts helping some of it. It would be nice to see him help.
Okay.
Rafa, what's his last name?
Micah.
Rafa Micah get take a stage win or something like that.
Yeah. I got a theory how Tadej could lose the race. Have you seen those big sponsor banners in the race for Italy?
Oh yeah, I have.
I think one of those could fall down and take out his front wheel and he'd be out of the race. It's really weird that Italy is a sponsor for the Tour of Italy. It's almost like if we had a race here in America and Chili's was a sponsor.
Is Italy a restaurant or some sort of tourism board or what?
Yeah, Italy is an American chain that they have one here in LA. I think it's in Culver City, and it's a whole floor of a mall. And it's like you're in Italy. They have Italian restaurants and like they have like an open market you can go to, and it's like you get to pretend you're in Italy for a couple hours.
I didn't know that.
You got to go down. We got to go to Italy.
I thought it was like it was like, come to Italy and experience it. And I'm like, did they just get fun? It would have offended me as a comedian. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, is this what you focus grouped and came up with? Italy?
We got to go to Italy, Dan. All right. Stage 9 is tomorrow, 214 kilometers. It's flat. Here's an interesting note. There is nothing really interesting in this Giro till stage 14, which is a 31K time trial. So are you ready for nonstop talk about who got in the break, who didn't get in the break, how much conversations Alaphilippe is having in the break and out of the break? So what do you think is going to happen this next week? Are we going to be bored?
It's going to be a little bit boring, but I think we might see that ragtag crew of commentators really come through with some entertaining stuff.
You're hard on the commentators, I've noticed.
I love them, though. I mean, Jens Voigt on the back of a motorcycle with like a very pissed off guy driving. I don't know if you've spotted that yet.
Yes.
I can't quite put together what's going on there yet. But
Jens Voigt has Arnold Schwarzenegger syndrome, where he has spoken English now for 20 plus years, yet his English has never improved.
Right.
He always is like, his words he chooses his words weird, and he always says, back to the commentators.
Yeah, he doesn't really know.
He's like, we know when you're done talking, Jens Voigt. The commentators will pick up on it.
Hello, I'm on a motorcycle. Like, okay.
It's Jens Voigt internal monologue.
Yeah.
So stage 9 tomorrow, we're going to be thinking of ideas to talk about. I have a feeling for these stages. And that leads us to Dan Dowling's image of the day.
Image of the day.
I have no idea where this is going.
Tadej Pogacar, of course, a once in a generation rider.
I saw a headline calling him the new cannibal already. It's starting.
Oh. Well, I think I've figured out the key to his success.
Wow, breaking news here on 10 Minutes of Giro.
I will. Let's see here. Oh, shit. Sorry.
What was your favorite helmet of the TTs?
The one that looks like a melted toaster. Is that the Visma one? The one where it's like a parallelogram? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It was interesting. The Visma guys, some of them wore them, some of them didn't. I like that there's a mutiny for these helmets, because at some point I want to say to like these helmet manufacturers in the Pro Tour, like, guys, We have to always keep in mind we cannot turn into triathlon. We can't do this, guys. We got to keep this sport romantic. And if we come anywhere close to triathlons, we're done.
Also, like, I mean, first and foremost, the helmet should be a safety, a piece of safety equipment, right? Right. I get obviously the need for aerodynamics and all this stuff, but like a square looking parallel, it doesn't look like it's gonna like it looks like it's.
And they were doing the shot of the rider from behind, and the helmet is as wide as their shoulders. It's insane. And I like that some of them didn't wear it because we got to stop this. This is insane. Rudy Project had a crazy, massive visor going now, and it's strange. It's freaking me out. I don't like this younger generation of TT helmets.
All right.
Dan's image is up. Oh, this
image of the day.
This is out of left field. What am I looking at?
Let me see if I have to stop my video. If this will show. No, it didn't work. All right. I don't know how to blank myself out here, but
okay. I think we can see it. I think that's Tade kissing a goat.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it speaks for itself, but the key. So Tade, the reason has all the cycling talent is he's clearly made a deal with the Dark Lord Baphomet. Here manifesting itself through this lovely goat, and I all for one am for it. All hail Tade and all hail Baphomet.
Oh wow! Dan has now pledged his allegiance to the Lord and Savior Satan.
Yes, that's great.
Yes, wow. You gravel boys are all the same.
Back to commentators.
I don't like where this is going. You pledge allegiance to Satan in a German accent. That's it, Dan. We have to get out of here. Unbelievable. These images. Every time I think I know where you're going,
it's okay. We got Pelayo. He's going to church. He'll pray for all of us.
Oh, right. He'll cancel out.
Yeah, it's a yin and a yang thing here.
That's right. We are in Italy or Italy. Yeah. We haven't
Italy. Yeah.
Well, that was 10 minutes of Giro. That was stages 6, 7, and 8. We're officially in the heart of the Giro. Dan, we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right.
Ma si beve whisky and soda, o ti senti disturbato?